this computer. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry, what? Oh, recording. Yeah, got it. So.
Thank you. Must be the gray.
Must be, yeah, it's definitely the gray. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going into a PowerPoint presentation because I know we've thrown a lot at you guys in the last few weeks, and then you go, I've never even used it. I can't touch it yet. I don't know if it's going to work right. And I've got a lot of people experimenting with it. So what I'm going to do is start back from the very, very beginning. If I can get this moved. And my beginning, the dinosaurs roamed the earth. No. What I want to do is kind of break down just a little bit of what each thing is going to do. And then over the coming weeks, we're going to have some very short classes twice a week. No more than an hour, more like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, deep diving a little bit more into each section of these tools. So one of the problems I think you all are having is, where do I go to do things? Well, I don't know if you can see it, and we've got all kinds of things on our screen over here. But back in the day, and even last year, this is what your toolbox looked like. They were all thrown in there, and they're jumbled, and they're kind of sitting in the same box so you can carry them, but you got to dig them to find them. You've got to figure out what does what. And what we really want to get you guys to is a nice, compatible, organized toolbox where they all talk to each other in a way that makes sense and save you time. Now, you don't learn to use, I don't even know what that is. Right off the bat, you learn to use the tools that you're already using and build on that knowledge. But the bottom line is there's stuff happening in the background that you may not see. And I want to just break down what each tool does today. And then we'll talk about the two new tools we introduced today. And then we're going to move on to our classes next week. Does that sound good? Okay, before we're done, I want you to start thinking about this. Greg thinks the best time to do classes would be Tuesday and Thursday around 10 o'clock. If that is a problem, let's talk about it at the end of class. So your Moxi toolbox does all of these things: your CRM, presentations, it has your website, it has advertising, it has your buyer and seller plans, it's got drip email, it's got campaigns and feedback. And the problem is, while we've all done some of that up into the past, we'll have people in the room that said, I didn't send campaigns because I hadn't organized them in a way to do it. Or I knew I had my CRM over here, but then I would go into this database to look up other things. We're trying to put them all together for you so you don't have to go so much. So let's go to, let's see. The first thing that I find most people have trouble with is, where do I go to log in? No disagreements? No comments?
I go here.
Okay. So can everybody log into thebetterks.org? Okay. So we fixed something over the weekend. If you click on up there at the top where it says apps and tools, and then inside, you've always been able to get into the greenhouse by clicking on greenhouse, right? Well, over the weekend, we made it so that you can click on MoxiWorks and you'll go right into Moxi. You don't have to sign in again. You don't have to click around in the greenhouse to find it. So that's one thing I'm trying to do to make your life easier. Now, having said that, I have saved Moxi on my toolbar. And once you log in, you don't have to go, set all the credentials all the time. And I just click my toolbar. But some of you go on toolbar, save, what are you talking about? Okay, I get it. Click right there, you're in. Okay?
I would put Moxi right up there on your toolbar next to your MLS login or what important it is.
Well, I hope it's that important. I put it on the bookmarks bar so that it shows up for me. And just to give you an idea, if I'm on my Google phone, because I don't do that eye crap, I'm sorry, I just said that. I've got an iPad. I love my iPad. And I have Chrome on my iPad and I have it on this. All of my bookmarks and passwords are saved across all my devices. I don't have to remember any. I open my phone, I click bookmarks bar, I click Moxi, and it opens up. So you can do that if you log in and create it. We'll talk about that another time. So you click on Moxi Works and you go here. Is there anyone either on the call or in the room that hasn't at least seen this page? Okay, so we have a couple that may not. And we're not hearing you if you're talking to us. And I don't see any chat comments, so we're going to accept that most of you have seen this. Well, the problem go ahead.
I'm sorry, Greg, it's Cindy. I don't think I have. I'm looking at this and I'm not familiar with this screen either.
Well, then this is going to be real great for you if you've never seen it. But at least you know how to get from Better KS to open this page now.
Correct.
All right. So I'm trying to build all of our tools that talk to each other in Moxi, and this is called Moxi. And we're going to go through the tools across the top. But the idea here then is all of these things that are across the top are either ones that you don't have to log into anymore, or if you click on it, it's called single sign-on. It takes you to the tool and opens it up for you. So let's talk about what these tools actually are and what they do. Let's see where our toolbox lands. The first tool we have is Present. Now, to me, I know some of the issue here is the way they've named things. We're going, what is what? What does this do? What does that do? Think of Present like a presentation. If you're doing a CMA, you're presenting it to somebody. If you're doing a buyer's presentation, you're presenting it to somebody. So all the things that we do in here, including our CMAs and our old cloud CMA, are presentations. So start pasting in your mind. What do I want to do? Well, we had someone that requested a buyer presentation, so I activated it and did some things. You can build your own presentations. I'm not going to try to show you presentations today. I'm only trying to define what each tool is, okay? We did go over them, and some people in the room are going to go, I know it inside and out, I don't need anything. Other people in the room are saying, I've never logged in before. So I want to go back to the beginning and show people what things do, because the classes they gave us, while informative, if you're like me and your brain is going on all these, flow trees of work, that's great. For most real estate agents, you don't think like I think. A lot of you don't think anything like I Thank you, Marie. I appreciate that. So the next tool up there is Engage. Now, Engage, we call a CRM. Sandra is a big fan of Engage and wants to tell you how much she loves it. Sandra's been on some of the testing forefront to see how various things work. And we have found that some of the things don't work as good as we want it to be. So thank you for allowing us to utilize your database, Sandra. But think of, I will. I'll write you a big check, 10 cents. So think of Engage as I have a bunch of clients and I want them to engage me, to come do business with me. This is where I'm going to go to do things that attract my sphere of influence, not somebody on the web who has no idea who you are, attract my sphere of influence and get them to do business with me. So it's your client communication center. You can do, where is my client in the buying process? You can find out where your monetary goals are. That's kind of an odd one to put in there. It's got drip emails. You can initiate saved searches. It's got a to-do list. And once you turn a client into a transaction, it'll say, here's your transaction plan of action. Okay. Pick up the microphone. Yeah, if you're going to ask a question. Yes, but we'll have to talk about it later because there is a manual import process that you can do. if you've got a nice clean list. If you got people in here and people in there and people in there, you better put them all together first. Okay. Question was, can you put your people from another CRM in here? And yes, you can do a CSV upload. The next tool over there is my website. Now, is there any question about what a my website is going to be? Or do you think you pretty, yes. It's about me. Your clients can search for homes on there. It's got seller information pages if you want to put them in there. It's got neighborhood things, featured properties, and blogs. Now, they introduced us to this from Moxi. The introduction was okay. The introduction scratched the surface. And I will say two things. You can customize this website so much you can spend days on it, or you can turn it on and be done. You don't have to get real deep in it. Okay. Next tool over is Impress. Early on, when we first got turned on to Moxi, many of you discovered that when you put a listing in the MLS, you get an email and it says, do you want to do a Facebook page? Do you want to do a brochure? Do you want to do, and you click on things. That's all housed here in Impress. You're making impressions on people. You're trying to impress them with advertising or so on to attract them. Brochures, flyers, social media, virtual tours. There's even a tool in there that will take all the pictures that you put in the MLS and make a YouTube video for you. It's all in there. You can do a lot of things. And very easy, very user-friendly. So that's what Impress is. I'm skipping over Promote on purpose. Promote is like a paid advertising campaign on Facebook or Google or other things that is extra money. And I don't want to promote there using extra money. So if you want to look at it, it looks confusing to me, and I decided I had plenty to learn before that. Any questions? Okay. So today we are introducing, and what some of you got an email about yesterday, some of you had signed up, is Real Scout. If you're in Moxi and click on Real Scout, it's going to take you to a different page and look at stuff. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But I want you to think of Real Scout. The name is kind of confusing. Does anybody use the Collaboration Center in the MLS? Okay, we got some yeses and some hands being raised. So here's the deal. Real Scout was started by about 5 or 6 years ago by a guy who said, we need computer machine learning to read the pictures inside the MLS, because what we're presenting people is all jumbled up and they can't tell what their specialties are in the house and so on. So what Real Scout started as was that. Currently, Real Scout updates its data every 5 minutes. It pulls a new data field from the MLS. Now then, it can't always put every listing on 5 minutes after it was in the MLS because, no, this is not. You know what the Collaboration Center is? This is what the Collaboration Center would be. It pulls new listings in, and then it will send those listings to your client if you've saved the search form. Okay.
It's more user friendly.
It's
What I've seen, what he's shown me, it's more user friendly than the Collaboration Center. Well, I don't know what
I'm going to show you how to do it in just a minute. So just bear with me and I'll show you how to do one. I'm just trying to outline what the tool is. But it pulls the data every 5 minutes. Now, the other day, I've got some people set up on tests. I got a listing. The listing history in the MLS said it was put in 8 minutes before it hit my email. That means your client's email gets hit that fast as well. The other problem that I've had with similar programs like save searches on your website and stuff is that you're very limited in what fields you can search. In this program, every single field in the MLS is searchable. Every single field. Anything that people put in the MLS is searchable. So you can set up a very complex search. You can set up a very easy search. I'm going to show you how in just a minute, so don't get too excited about it. But if you think of it as a collaboration center, it's got personal landing pages. You can do a saved MLS search. You can do subdivision searches. Now, how many people like doing subdivision searches in the MLS? Only one, two, okay. Yeah. So what kind of, pick up the microphone. So what kind of problems do you have when you do a subdivision search? Shout them out. Too many subdivisions? Different editions? Misspelled? Ever find one that has a space and the next one doesn't have a space, or the agent doesn't know what they're doing? Real Scout ignores the subdivision field in the MLS because they don't believe agents know what they're doing. They use a program called Pitney Bowes, which across the United States says this is Willow Bend, this is blank, and they don't care about the additions inside. So it's easier to do a subdivision search in Real Scout than it is in the MLS. School zones are the same thing. How many people have found a house that's in the wrong school zone? They pull their school zones from Pitney Bowes, and they're updated all the time from government services. So again, we're back to, we put the house in, the machine learning says this is what Pitney Bowes said should be the subdivision and the schools. And we've simplified a lot of things, that some of the mistakes people make from time to time. You can always check the school if you want to, particularly if you're doing a listing. But if you're looking for homes that say they're in this X number of school zone on some sort of email service, it's hard to check each and every one of them. So bear with me on that one. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if that's specific, like Goddard, for instance, you have the old schools in Goddard and the newer schools in Goddard? Do you know if it searches just Goddard schools versus?
I think it does both, but we'll find out because there's actually going to be a class on that next week.
Yeah, maybe it's like that too.
To answer that question, I think there's a field for school district. If you have a buyer that wants to look at modern schools, and then you have fields in there for high school, middle school, and elementary. So I believe Real Scout will have those fields in there. You're supposed to have.
And there's another thing it does. It says Facebook searches there. I've been playing with it, and I don't know how many people watch my Facebook page, but they have a widget where I set up a search of all houses in Wichita that were between 125 and 175. One button posted that search to my Facebook page, and I labeled it investors looking for rental homes. And all they do is click on it and it pulls up the homes. So there's a lot of power to this program that I don't think we've had before. But let's move on for just a minute. The last one is Testimonial Tree. I have been waiting for 6 months to give you guys a new testimonial. Yeah, I skipped directory on purpose. Directory is just a list of all the agents in the company. I've been waiting for 6 months to find a way for us to collect better testimonies and testimonials from your clients. This was turned on about 2 weeks ago because they had to write the program to send an email to you guys if you didn't give us the email, and nobody else had that. So that is now in there, and some of you have started getting, you closed on this property, but you didn't give us an email address. Do you want to send out and get a testimonial from them? That is now available to you guys. So those are the two newest tools, Real Scout and Testimonial Tree. So what do we get? It's got client star ratings. It's got client testimonials. You can share them on social media. You can publish them. You can have a flowing, rotating testimonials on your website that go through. Google star ratings. And we're going to get training on that late next week. Once your client says, yeah, they did a good job, they get an email back and says, hey, would you like to leave a testimony? Write it out. As soon as they write it out, they say, would you like to share this on Google? Click here to copy, hit Google and copy it in. It pastes them so you get a Google rating at the same time. It also pulls in your testimonials that people may leave on other things. So if somebody goes to Facebook and says, Lance was the greatest agent I ever got, and I think he's wonderful, it will pull that in so that you can use it in testimonial tree. It goes all across it. So that's the other new one. Real quick, and I'm going to log into Real Scout just in a minute to demo how easy it can be. Real Scout would go to this page. It shows what your clients have looked at, how many times they've opened an email, if they set up any other searches that you want to be aware of, and so on. And this class will be next Tuesday, the 22nd at 11 a.m. I'll send you guys an invite when we're done here. It will be a Zoom class because we're being taught by the national guy. And or we will also have it up here next Tuesday so you can watch it. This is the introductory class. I don't think it'll go for more than an hour, and it's a fairly simple program. And inside Testimonial Tree, you'll have widgets that you can implant your testimonies. It will show you where they came from, what the star ratings are. There are buttons that you can push so you can publish them to Facebook and so on. We'll have that class hopefully at the end of next week. And then after next week, we're going to go back to the beginning of Moxi. How do we set up a CMA? How do we make a buyer presentation? How do we work on our website? And we'll start piecemealing it through in shorter chunks. And as Tulio was smart enough to bring his computer today and help walk you through, look over your shoulder and see when you're having problems. That's what I have planned. Is that a good plan or not a good plan?
Sounds good.
No.
Good plan.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Do we need to do something to get the testimonial instead of a survey? If they have a high enough score, they are asked for a testimonial. If their score is 1 star, we don't want to, necessarily ask them for a testimonial. And I will tell you that these testimonials are a much briefer survey than before. They're like maybe 2 or 3 questions because we're trying to get 2 things: star rating and a testimony from somebody who's happy. The old one had a really long drawn out because they thought we were going to collect all kinds of information. What advertising work? Did Sandra open the door when I was there? Did Marie let the dog run free? And all these kind of off the wall questions. And this new program says, what are we doing with that information? And if the answer is nothing, why are we collecting it?
Question, Greg.
Yes.
So they send the survey first, and if they get a high enough score, then they're asked to do a testimonial?
That's my understanding. Now, they may tell us differently next Tuesday because when I initially had this training, it was mid-November. And I've been waiting that long for this email portion to be turned on.
I can see people go on getting the first email for a survey. They're not going to click on a second one for a testimonial. You know what I mean?
I guess it's possible. And again, I could be wrong on that. But I know we're starting to get surveys back and it's only been in for a week.
Yeah, I don't even send mine out because I don't want a survey. I don't care about a survey.
And I'll say this about all these tools I'm presenting. If you like them, use them. If you don't. It's okay.
Well, I love testimonials and I like to share those, but I'm not going to share a survey.
Well, the survey may be a star rating and that's it. It's only like 3 questions. But we will find that out for sure next week.
Okay.
So That class, I'm shooting for next Thursday or Friday. And again, Zoom meeting and more information as soon as I have it. And so to finish up the slide portion, we're trying to make all these tools talk to each other. So you don't have to go to the MLS for this, the email for that, go to Zap for this, and come back to Cloud CMA for that, and so on. We're trying to get these combined down into one central place. And because you're doing one central place, it's more complicated in the back end. On the front end, we hope to get it a little easier for you guys to use. So that's our goal. Let me close this or get this up. So I want to show you real quickly how easy it would be for me to save a search in Real Scout. And I did not prepare this earlier, so I'm going to have to do a little finagling. So you'll know almost all of my contacts are collaborators. I don't have buyers and sellers. Well, I can't set up a save search for another real estate agent. I got to save it for a buyer. So what I need to look for as an agent is, who are my buyers? So if I'm in Engage and you would open to this, and I wanted my daughter-in-law, Heather, she's a buyer. I would click on her name or search her name or whatever. And Heather says, I want to start searching for homes in Willow Bend because my husband plays golf. In Heather's card, there is one that says she is now an active buyer. And the second thing up here is create a home search, a Home Scout, Real Scout home search. So I would click on that and I'm going to create a search for Heather. Now, all Heather's contact information is being taken over to Real Scout for me. And we're creating it. And since Heather was already in there, it'd say, hey, we've found Heather, but you're going to save a new save search. She has to be for you to one button over. Yes, there's the one button portion versus other portions. Because you see here at the top, I could always add a client. I can just go in and add people. No, just trust me. So now I want to say, here's all the fields I can search. And I told you that you can add anything in here you want to. I can put listing dates, open houses. I can put garages, and I can add any field that you can think of to put in the MLS. Let's see if I go finished. Yeah, finished basement. I want to have finished basement. I'm going to add it. It's in the MLS. You can add it. And I want to say bedroom, bath, everything, 3 bedrooms, basement and concrete storage, anything that people have put in there, I can put, but I want a basement theater. I saw that.
Use the garage example like we did yesterday.
Okay. All right. Add or remove. Garage. And my choice is garage size. Done. Well, what do I want to do for garage size? Well, these are my choices. 1, 2, 3, carport, shared. I'm going to say 3.
You can add more than one.
Oh, yeah, I could put,
3 or 4 plus.
absolutely. Again, I'm not trying to give a full class. I'm just trying to, but you can do any field in the MLS. So then I want to say, so you can see what we've got here. I can do school districts and so on. And right now I've got 197 results. Now, something big different from your save search on your websites. This is considered establishing a relationship with a client. When you have a one-on-one relationship, we are allowed to show pendings, solds, coming soons, all of those things. They can look at them if we allow it. So I'm going to let Heather look at actives. I'm going to let her see actives that aren't showing. I don't want to show her canceled, but I want her to see contingents, pendings, I could put solds in here just if I wanted her to have some solds. But you can see I can keep adding things on here because Heather's looking for this house and I want her to see how quickly they're selling and how fast they're going away. And I don't have to just show her all the solds. I can say how far back I want her to go. I'm trying to remember where that is right now, but you can say I only wanted to go back 90 days. And you guys can start playing with this now. Listing or status changed in the last 24 hours, the last 30 days only. So they won't see any solds that are more than 30 days old. When I save to my client, it's Heather, it's Greg playing 2. I have these choices on when it goes out. I can have them sent to me and I can handpick the listings I want to go out. I can have them go out daily or a day per week. I can have them go out ASAP, which means as soon as it changes in the MLS, it goes out. I can send a copy to myself. If I go back to daily, just to show you, I only want her to get them on Sunday morning. I don't want her to get them on Monday or Tuesday morning or Wednesday. So there's a lot of flexibility with this. And then I'm going to save it. And I can send this now. And here are all the listings that Heather just got. When you open one of the listings, big pictures, well proportioned. Everything down here in the MLS is displayed here. And from Heather's end, if she finds 3 houses she likes, she can put them side by side and it'll go down. Here's the exterior pictures, here's the kitchen pictures, here's the bedroom pictures, and so on. Yes, Pam.
So this is essentially replacing sort of not option, different than the MLS search.
Yes, for a couple of reasons. So sometime this is the MLS search where you have listings sent to your people at Collaboration Center, but that search portal sucks for them to look for houses. This has a dedicated app and also uses GPS so they can pull up houses while they're driving around and save them to you.
So the buyer, can they, is this the same thing? I mean, they can go and do their own search?
Yep.
So and I noticed you have some specifics like the type of flooring, the living room or kitchen or
Yep.
all of that.
Does she have the microphone? I can't hear her.
Sorry, I don't know how to turn this on.
Down at the bottom, there's a switch. Here. Here.
Is it on?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
The,
Thanks.
the battery.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the MLS, okay, so this is a little bit more specific than what our Collab Center offers. More variables, I guess, that they can choose on, like the type of flooring. But that's contingent on the accuracy or the data that's put into the MLS.
Some of it is they have machine learning reading the pictures to say this has wood floors.
Okay, okay, that answers my question. I
And
think.
something else that happens when they're looking at it, they get a little checklist that says, did the kitchen appeal to you or not? Did you like this part better? And they start putting in thumbs up if they like things. And then the machine learning presents them first, the stuff they like, and then later on, the stuff they don't like, further down in the search.
I think for me, when Greg was showing me this, the way I'm planning on using Real Scout is for my buyers. And when instead of setting them up, because I would bring a client in to the office, pull up the MLS and build a search in front of them, and it would show them the results and so forth. what I'm going to do now is build it in Real Scout so that we can see it as it happens and use that to provide my buyers with new listings. Because this will do the same thing as a collaboration center. It will notify your buyers when new listings hit the market. And that's why he was talking about how quickly this system checks the MLS every 5 minutes. There's a lot of other subsidiary programs, I guess is the best way to say it, like this, that aren't that quick.
It might be once an hour or 4 times a day
Correct.
or whatever.
When it comes, so the only, and sorry, Greg, he's probably going to hit me for saying this, but I'm planning on using this site for my buyers as they do their search. But when I'm doing my CMAs and so forth, I'm going to still use the MLS and then move those listings over to Moxi Present when I'm doing my CMAs.
And we'll talk about that more later. But and you can now log into Real Scout and play with it. And we'll have class next week, which will be much more thorough than what I've just done this little brief demo. But for instance, one of the people I have, they have Message Your Agent on there. Now, a lot of your consumers are using Zillow or Realtor.com, and they may or may not have you logged in as your agent. And so then there's a communication flow that could happen, or advertising other agents on it. You'll see that this is pretty straightforward. It's got the minimal that we have to display, but it's a relationship between you and your agent. And when they send you an email, I got my first message on email, and then it said, would you like to start getting these on text messages instead of email? I said, sure. And then I started, going back and forth via the text message instead of the email. So I think you're going to find this is a very powerful and good interactive tool from the client usage standpoint of how they can interact with it. And that's what I'm trying to get us to. Your best email to get in here is to get into Moxi and click right over here on the very end where it says testimonial tree. Then you don't have to worry about logging in right or not. So I log into Moxi. I'm in Moxi. I want to go to testimonial tree or Real Scout. I click on it, it goes right over. And now I'm in my Real Scout dashboard where I can see who's been looking. I'm signed in. I can put somebody in fresh from here if I want to. If you put somebody in there, it gets pushed back to the other one. So they talk back and forth. What I don't know is if they log in here and it gets pushed back to the other one, does it match up the contacts so you don't have 2 contacts? It may not, because it thinks you're, but you will have a straight login and username that you can do if you want to. I have just found it much easier to go from Moxi to there. But
Greg, I
again,
have a question.
but just a moment. But again, I'm just giving you the brief overview. That's a great question to ask Tuesday when we have our full training. Okay. What was the question?
This looks like it's much more user friendly than the Zap program I've been using. I have a
Yeah.
lot of my buyers search Zap.
Mhm.
Can we convert them over to this? And does it send a welcome email like Zap does?
Absolutely. In fact, they will get an invitation from you when they put you in. But to give you another example of stuff I know that you haven't seen yet, you have a landing page. It's a little difficult to see all this inside here. And I took my landing, this is the out of the box landing page, and I customized my landing page. And this is what mine looks like. And this is a standard kind of, they aren't logged in, so they don't get to see pendings, active, solds, or anything else, just a standard search. And they can do a home search from here. And again, they will show you that next week. I'm not trying to give you it does everything. I'm trying to give you, this is an overview of our products. Okay. So we've been on this for 45 minutes. this is what I had planned for time. I'm willing to answer any more questions. But I'm going to tell you, for a lot of these newer ones, let's get you in the training first. If you want to plug in and look at help and poke around, help yourself, go for it. If you want to get the training, let's do it. Okay. Check my chat. 2. Time it takes to showing someone how fast they're selling, it will be sold. That's correct. And that's part of why you want something that updates 5 minutes. You don't want them to be on Zillow and see it sold 3 days ago. And we're trying to move them off of those public portals to something that's speedier. Can we import our Zap clients into this? Yes, you can. I'm going back up. Testimonial tree send surveys at this time. I think we answered that one already. Is this website built to get conversions? Yes, it is. If they want to know more information, you are allowed to, it will ask them to sign in. But I don't think there's a force to sign in if they just want to look at it. I doubt if the SEO rankings are going to be very good on this, Lynn, but the SEO rankings on your Moxi website are fantastic, and you can replace the Moxi search with this search if you prefer. That's pretty advanced. I don't want to get into that much now, but it could be done. Where I see some real power in this is, yes, it does. And you have a dedicated mobile app, I believe. Well, it's based on the user login for their app. However, I'm finding that the browser is almost more powerful than the app, truly. And you do have a dedicated sign-in for your public-facing site. Where I look at is it under extras? Not in this program. There would be in Moxi. Social media. Well, in social media, like I told you, I set up some searches, and all I did was push share on Facebook, and it opened Facebook, put it right in. It was very easy. So poke around in here. Let's get to classes next week and enjoy.
We have 2 groups available. Because I'm so busy right now.
Well, up to a point, yes. Devin on the other side of town is pretty darn good at anything technical. Your protege is really good at this stuff. Tracy's pretty good at this stuff, and I am. Now, being good at this stuff is spending 5 or 10 minutes to help you work out a single problem. Not, will you build my website with 27 pages for me? No, I don't have time to do that, and neither do they. Just simply because we're kind of a small staff, but you get that we will get you started. And so building the websites are fairly easy. There are things that make it really, point and click easy. Even customizing, if I can get back to this, even customizing my little site was, if you want to customize it, I go here, there's my landing page. I want to customize it. Well, what do I want to do? Well, I want to change this picture. Put a new picture in. I put in a video just to see if I could do that. I pasted in the About Me thing. It's very, very easy to do these little landing page things and point and click simple. So.
Couple of things I want to add in here. First and foremost, that everyone here has heard that the zones and areas are going away with the MLS by the end of the year. So first and foremost, Real Scout does allow you to draw maps. So you're going to be able to draw maps just like you can in the MLS. The second thing is, when it comes to Real Scout, kind of, we're asking about it, training and so forth. What Greg and I are going to be working on is he's going to be focused more on the Moxi end of things, and I'm going to get more educated on the Real Scout so that I can kind of take that off his table or off his plate a little bit. We are going to schedule a class here, a couple of classes over the next 10 months to show those who are so reliant on MLS zones. We're going to start holding, I'll be teaching those classes coming up on how to do searches without using zones. And we're holding off on that because I'm going in for my own training with the MLS next week, because I want to make sure I'm up to speed on any additional changes and updates and stuff like that that they've done. So we're going to get you covered to make sure that you can make that transfer from zones to no zones by the time the end of the year rolls around.
I have a quick question. This is April.
Please.
So with the zones going away or the areas going away, isn't there like a map that's out there that tells us what zip codes are in what zones? Then we can just do zip code search.
Sort of. You're going to find that the
I do.
zip codes in Wichita, there's maybe 4 or 5 zip codes, 6, maybe, I don't know, dozen. They're a lot larger than the zones that people are used to using. But yes, the easiest way to get a zip code map is just to Google Wichita, Kansas zip code map, and it'll pull it up real easy.
Okay, that's my question.
And if you're wondering why the MLS did this, it's because of fair housing issues. Many MLSs across the country are getting rid of their zones or their areas in general. There's Wichita's got one of the most number of zones per capita than anyone else in the U.S. And the MLS attorney basically has said we've got to get rid of these, otherwise we're setting ourselves up for fair housing violations, and obviously we don't want to do that.
Hey,
So,
Greg,
Go ahead.
sorry, this is Priscilla. Can I add to, I feel like you went through the landing pages kind of quick, probably because we're going to go back through them. But there's been a lot of research, and I think I was talking to Marie about this the other day, about how effective landing pages are to generating a good database for yourself. And they oversee actual websites. So I think landing pages are a really good thing. If you guys are going to dig into that, probably make one and start pushing them out for yourself.
Don't disagree. Updated material is always good. A lot of more pages are good. If the pages are relevant to the search areas, things that you want them to do, those are always good. But in general, driving your sphere of influence to your website is relatively easy compared to getting Google to drive people to your website. So just keep in mind to focus, don't lose your focus on your sphere of influence. It's a lot easier to convert them into buyers and sellers than a complete stranger. Yes. Yes. I don't know when it will be turned off. I suspect 4 or 5 months, but I don't know for sure. Right. No, it's not. Even Zap still works and all of those things, but they have moved us from some of the older tools to the new ones. And as they get the rest of the companies off of it, then they'll start converting as well. So, yes, Erica.
You mentioned on the testimonials that a couple people have already received them.
Mm-hmm.
Can we maybe just have those agents reach out to those clients and ask them, you know, hey, this is a new program. When you answered the survey, did it give you automatically a space to do your testimonial, or did you get a separate email?
You know, once we have the training next week, they'll be able to tell you exactly the procedure and all. So it's, but
I figured that's just gonna be.
but I can tell you that I designed the questionnaire, and it's only like 3 questions. And I know it's called a ping back to get them to give a Google star rating if their star rating's high enough, because we don't want them to Google to give you a star rating of 1, you know, so there is some of that.
I don't think he did the agent open the door for you as one of his 3 questions.
Right, it's not. No. You can request your clients to, you can type in a review if you found one someplace else you want to put on here. You can copy paste some, I believe. So there's a lot of ways to get them all so that they will feed onto your website in one shot. Okay, no more questions? The chat's clear, I think. Where's breakfast? It's a, yeah, the popcorn maker, thank you. I'm gonna stop recording.